So let's try to continue on here. I still have Izzy in my lap. Hopefully she'll leave us alone for a bit. ATP, energy currency of the cell. That energy is stored in these three hydrogen energy bonds tying together the three phosphate groups. Now, what happens is, again, ATP will kind of on its own break down, but we can hydrolyze it through a hydrolysis reaction where we just add water. You can see what's happening here. We take a water, it breaks off one of the hydrogens. The hydroxyl group attaches to one of the phosphates, and now I've got this free-floating hydrogen. And that process releases lots of energy. And it can go back and forth. We have to, through some mechanism, add energy in to convert the 2-phosphate, the adenine diphosphate, ADP. We have to add energy to that to get ATP. We can sometimes break the second phosphate group off also, but that's not nearly as often. That's not that doesn't occur nearly as often, but it can. But again, high energy bonds holding those phosphate groups together, and that is how energy is moved easily around throughout the cell. It's not the only way we move energy around. We're going to talk about some other energy carriers, but that is definitely the most common one. Okay. Now, reactions through which this energy is stored and moved around and transferred throughout the cell from one molecule to another. We call these redox reactions, that is, reduction and oxidation reactions. So here we're really starting into chapter 7. I went ahead and when I looked at the chapter 6 stuff, I thought, I can just set ATP aside and we can talk about that very quickly when we talk about chapter 7. So chapter 7 here, we're talking about how do we turn glucose into energy? How do we harvest the energy within glucose? Well, ATP allows us to move that energy around once it's been harvested. But in 7, we're going to talk about what are the processes we use to harvest the energy. They are a combination of reduction and oxidation reactions, or redox reactions. Reduction is where and I don't know how these names make any sense. I struggle with them. You just kind of have to memorize that reduction is adding an electron, and that electron adds energy. It adds potential chemical energy to that molecule now. So when we add an electron to a molecule, it gains energy from that electron. It gains potential chemical energy from that electron. We call that reduction. Oxidation, which I can't really find a good tie to oxygen. In this class, when we're referring to oxidation, we're talking about the removal of an electron from a molecule. And in that process of removing the electron, the molecule loses energy. So oxidation, we lose energy. We lose an electron and lose energy for oxidation. Reduction, we gain an electron and we gain energy. So it seems like the opposite to me of reduction. I'm gonna try to, when I'm back on campus and have a minute, I'd like to have a conversation with some chemistry faculty about why is it reduction when we're adding energy and adding electrons? What are we actually reducing? And I'm sure there's another conversation. You've probably talked about it in a chemistry class, and it's just been a while since I've had an actual chemistry class, and I just don't remember. But we do need to remember oxidation, losing electron, losing energy. Reduction, adding electron, adding energy. That's really what's critical here, okay? All right, what else we got here? So another energy-carrying molecule, NAD and NADH. So an NAD ion, and the name escapes me here, I apologize, but an NAD ion is reduced because it's a positive ion. We add an electron, it now becomes neutral, and now we can attach to it a free-floating proton or just a hydrogen ion, and we get NADH, which carries lots of energy. So it's another way we will move energy around from one molecule to another is NADH. And that's not a bad place to stop there. All right, so we'll pick up the next video because I'm about to hit 5 minutes on this one, and the app I'm using for free is only 5 minutes. So